Hey YouTube, this is Rick. Wanted to talk to you today about making one of my all-time favorite breakfasts. It's muesli. There are tons of muesli recipes out there, and when I first started eating it for breakfast 5 or 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I found a recipe that I liked that was pretty simple. It's a two-part recipe. You do one part in the evening, and I'm going to show you that right now. You get everything in the bowl and you let it set overnight in the refrigerator, and then in the morning then you add the apples and the other things and finish it up. But it's going to start with this tonight and kind of talk you through it, what I do, how I do it, things like that. It makes a very good breakfast, very tasty. Now I will say my wife and I are trying a low carb diet. This muesli is not low carb, it's pretty high carb because it's made with steel cut oats, and that has they have a lot of carbohydrates. I'm doing a test tonight actually with flaxseed, and I want to see if they will, without grinding them up, will they expand, will they be similar to the steel cut oats. Part of the reason I use these is the texture, and they kind of swell up with the milk and the juice, and they're just really, really good. But as I read the ingredients, 1/4 cup of these dry has 29 grams of carbohydrates and 5 grams of fiber. That's a lot of carbs. So I'm going to see if the flaxseed works. I've got a little bit soaking in some milk and juice, and I want to test it tomorrow morning, see if it's softer, can I chew it, how does that work? So I'll try to update you on that too. But anyway, I want to go ahead and make this. I've got 2 more bags of the steel cut oats I'm going to go ahead and use up, and that's just such a good breakfast. I have my muesli almost every single day of the week. A lot of times I put blueberries in with it, frozen blueberries, some maybe frozen raspberries, something like that. But anyway, let me get started on this, and I'll talk about the ingredients I put in there and have it mixed up. Wanted to say thank you to my son Will. He's the photographer today behind the camera. So going to get started on this. So here's what you'll need. First thing, you'll need a large bowl. This happens to be a Rubbermaid, 15.7 cups. Any large bowl will do. I happen to like the plastic bowl because it has a lid that goes on top of it, seals it very nicely. You could probably use a glass bowl if you want to put saran wrap or a cling wrap on it or something like that. This just happens to be the one I use. It's fairly cheap. I think it came 2 or 3 to a package with lids and everything, and they'll last, oh gosh, quite a while. I'll wash them out and reuse them. So you'll need a large bowl. You'll need some steel cut oats. These have more of the good things of oats than the rolled oats. I believe it's the germ that's still together in the steel cut oats. So this is what I've been using. I make a large batch of muesli at one time. You could probably cut this down and make a small batch, but it probably lasts me about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So I actually go ahead and make up a whole bag. So you'll need steel cut oats. These happen to be Bob's Red Mill. You'll need ground cinnamon. You'll need milk, and I've had very good luck with everything from whole milk down to 1%. So I don't think that that's a major issue. And you're going to need some sort of fruit juice. Again, you can use almost any juice you want. This happens to be cranberry Concord grape. Probably just about anything would work fine. This just happens to be what I find tasty. So that's not a real critical thing. The amounts aren't critical. You'll see as I start mixing it together, I'm not measuring anything. So it's just kind of an eyeball for me. So let's start with the cinnamon. I have found that if I go ahead and put the cinnamon in first and then I put the oats on top of it, it seems to mix better. I just tap until there's quite a cloud of cinnamon and a pile of it. This drives my wife absolutely crazy that I don't measure things out. But we've been married 18 and a half years now, and I think she's okay with it. So if I had to guess, that's probably somewhere around probably not even a quarter of a cup. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit more to it. I like a lot of cinnamon in my muesli, and it's actually a pretty healthy spice. Okay, got my cinnamon in there. Cut open the steel cut oats, and I just dump it, the whole bag in there. And I'm going to add some milk to it. Again, I'm not measuring at all. Well, if you can get in here close where we can see it. I'm just putting milk in there, and that's quite a bit. I have learned not to be stingy on this. I don't like dry muesli. I like moist muesli. Now, if you make it and you go, wow, this is really moist, you might want to reduce the amount of milk. Juice, again, I'm just pouring it in there, and that's a lot of juice. This was almost full, so that's probably, oh goodness, maybe 3 cups of juice, so quite a bit. A spoon, just to sort of stir it up. The cinnamon will kind of clot, and it wants to stay together and separate from everything else and rise to the top. So I just sort of stir it gently, and if there are any really big pieces of cinnamon floating around, I'll sort of smash them against the side. But in the morning when I take this out, you'll notice that it's going to have a fairly thick layer of cinnamon on top. That's okay, it'll all get mixed in together. Alright, that's pretty much it. So after I stir it, put the lid on top, put it in the refrigerator, and let it set overnight. The oats will absorb the moisture, the milk and the juices mix together, the cinnamon, everything starts mixing together, and it's wonderful. Now, if only I could get my children to eat it. Alright, that's it for now, and next time I'll be making the rest of it. I put yogurt in there, I put usually 2 to 3 apples, I've done pears. Put some coconut in there, ground coconut. Some pecans, almonds, something like that. So we'll get that all mixed up and see how it turns out. Okay, back with the muesli. I've had it in the refrigerator overnight, and it has hopefully congealed very well. I'm going to finish mixing it up, kind of show you what I do, and after this it'll be ready for eating. So let's take a look at it. As I said before, it sort of mixes in there, and it absorbs the milk, it absorbs the juice, and yeah, you want it. I like it fairly moist. You may like a drier muesli, and if so, you put less milk in there, less juice, but I like it pretty moist. So what I have found is I make a very large batch. It usually lasts at least a week and a half. And so I've discovered if I mix it in a big bowl, it helps to keep from spilling over. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour everything into the bowl. Once again, I want to give a shout out to my son Will for helping with the video. Muesli is not the prettiest food to look at. I've tried to get my kids to eat it, and they take a look at it and they say, no thanks, Dad, we'll pass. Okay, so got it all mixed in there. I have already opened up some coconut. I put in about a bag of sweetened coconut flakes. Totally optional. You don't have to do it. I like the flavor and I like the texture that it gives. And then I put in, this is 32 ounces of Light Fit Greek yogurt. I've used blueberry yogurt, I've used plain yogurt, I've used strawberry yogurt, whatever. Doesn't really matter. And pretty much just put in a whole thing of yogurt. mixing that in. Occasionally, if I don't have it moist enough, I have added more milk and or more juice. Muesli is, if I remember right, a Swiss word, I believe. And I think Swiss. I think it is Swiss. I think it translates as mushy oatmeal. My wife and I first had it. Well, I first had it at a medical conference that we attended in Dallas, I think, and they had muesli on the breakfast bar. I never had muesli. I didn't even know what it was, and I tried some, and it was wonderful. And found a pretty good recipe for it, and I've been making it ever since. Okay, I took 3 Braeburn apples, rinsed them off very good, cut them up, put them in our food processor, and made them small, obviously, processed them. I don't always put them in a bowl before I put them in there, but I did it just to save time. So I've used pears, I've used Granny Smith apples. I think I've used a combination of pears and apples. So it really doesn't make any difference. It's just put the fruit in there. Pears and apples tend to have, I think, the best texture, and it just goes very well with the cinnamon flavor that we put in there. So mix this in. Oops, there we go. You can see why I used the large bowl to keep everything from sloshing over. And then I put in some chopped nuts. These happen to be pecans, and you can either get whole pecans and break them up. You can use pieces like this. I love pecans. I love almonds. Just about anything. Again, I know this drives my wife crazy, but I don't measure anything. I just put it in there until I'm happy. She says women have worked hard for years and years to measure things out, and I should use a recipe. And I probably should. So generally, yeah, she is the voice of wisdom. Okay. I'm actually going to throw in some almonds real quick. I forgot to lay them out. Hang on just a second. These happen to be slivered almonds, small pieces. I've used whole almonds. I've used just whatever. I just like a variety of flavors and textures in the muesli. And that looks about right. So I'm adding some more almonds. Alright. And it's pretty thick. But that's just the way it is. It's mushy oatmeal. Alright, one last thing that I'll add. I like some honey. Now, when my wife was eating this before we went low carb, I made it without honey. And she does not like her muesli very sweet. I happen to like mine very sweet. This is just honey, raw unpasteurized honey. I generally try to buy something that's fairly local. It's good for the economy, and the bees will use mostly local plants, and I've heard that will help with allergies. Okay. Again, I'm not measuring the honey, it's just sort of to taste. Nom. And mix it up, and that's about it. I'll transfer it back over to the plastic bowl, and I'll probably eat about a cup or so of muesli every morning. I put in some frozen blueberries. Sometimes I'll put in frozen raspberries with them. You can put in just about anything you want. And it's, again, just another flavor, different texture. Just kind of add what you want. And it takes time, it takes practice. You'll find what you like and what you don't like. This recipe has worked wonderful for me. I've been eating this for probably 4 or 5 years now, almost every morning. And my colon is very happy with this. So let me know if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, things to add. And have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.